Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. Continuing touch metrics, team positional levels. We're getting, I think, into the player levels here. Part 2B. So you need to check out the preceding parts. Let me jump ahead and make sure this is player. Yeah, so this is player level. Okay. Besides doing landscape analysis top down, okay, which is a theme if you've watched any of my video lessons. It's a theme that escapes much that I see out there, many that I see. Context, undefined context is an issue. It is unclear when most of what I see and read present fantasy football material. Okay? Look, for me to cover everything I do, even I don't really give enough context. It takes me multiple years beta testing, going through it every year, updating these databases, and it just kind of builds in my head. And so the issue I have a lot of times is trying to get that out. Okay. So one of the shorthand heuristical tools that I use is the box and whisker statistical distribution metric that looks at a population of your data and gives you some milestones. Okay. It basically gives you quadrants. Okay. 4 pieces. If you cut the pie, top piece, next piece, and the bottom piece, right? So it gives you the range, top to bottom. It gives you the median. It gives you where a lot of the population is sitting. Okay, and that's in the box. And the extremes are the whiskers. Top is the upscale extreme. Bottom is the lower scale. So, looking at players, and I then looked at touch per game distribution. So I'm leaving the metric of the weekly OPMG that I did before, circling back around to touches per game. Like I said, this is my first year to even, I invented the weekly way to look at touches, and traditionally I've looked at touches per game. Touches per game are not equivalent in running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. Just not the case. Okay? You're saying, well, what is this showing? Looks like everybody's at 100 and they're... Okay. You have to take within the position and scale the touches per game metric on a scale of 0 to 100. When you do it that way, you can compare across positions. You don't see that I've seen. Okay, and I know. Here's the thing: if you're paying money to listen to people and get their day, what are they doing for you? Okay, what are they doing? I don't know. Running backs, tight ends, wide receivers on the scale. Running backs still, even if you scale it, are going, the distribution is going to be way different than tight ends and wide receivers. Take a look at the median levels for running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. Much different. Much different. You could see where the boxes are. much different. In fact, tight ends are the worst. Notice the whisker from the tight end. This is why the elite tight ends in this game are so skewed. People try to do tight end premium. Part of the reason is because of that metric right there. Okay, not saying it is, but it is. PPR is a way to try to get wide receivers up a little bit. People have tried putting framework of different scoring to try to make it balance. That, at least that's the idea. Okay. Part of the reason is touches per game is different. Okay. So with that said, if you put it on the same scale, it at least gives you an idea of the relative value across the spectrum. Okay. So I like to do that. So I developed then my scaling, then I came in and looked at the distribution. Okay. Running backs. Team, position, of course. The player, the 2023 average touches per game. The scaled, the 2024 round it's going in. So I have put it in the context of kind of the latest draft information. And then the projected PPR end of season points. Okay, so you can get a feel. As far as touches, 2 levels. Top level is deep green. Next level is lighter green or more of a dull green. And then clear is kind of down by below average there. And it can get worse from there. So right away, your eyes should go to Devin A-Chain. Okay. Scale-wise, the pros think that he's 81. Notice that's a tier level there if you look at projections. Okay, that's kind of interesting. But there's an issue there, in my opinion. Touches per game. Okay, this is games they played. Okay. Another thing, Gibbs, Bijan, touches per game. The scaled version, a little weak. Gibbs is 86 on the PPR scale. Bijan 100. He's third best. So CMC's first. Breece Hall. Breece Hall, 81.1. So right away, the variation in some of these upper first 2 round RBs is there. It's not like, oh, they're all the same. You can get a little deeper here. You need to decide what you project, right? I'm just giving you 2023's touch per game. Give you what the pros think, give you what the public is doing right now as far as drafts. I think some other ones here, Zamir White, Jalen Warren, those pop out at you as well. There's some issues. I like Connor. The reason I like Connor, look at where he's at. 83, look at what's around him, round 7. Tony Pollard. Those had really nice touches. Okay, I know Pollard's moving, whatnot. But it's an opportunity here for you to dig deep and see what's going on. So there is the price, right? The round that they're being drafted in. So I think this data puts it into context versus touches last year. Okay. So that's the idea that I generate this data. Kamara's another one. I love him in the 5th. Look at that, 90. So a lot of thinking that I have, I like to look at each round and kind of just see what the variation is within rounds. Okay, and I've talked about some. And you can, some of these just naturally fly out. I think there's some danger. White, Warren, 18. Relative to cost. That's the idea. Not saying I wouldn't draft them. It's a warning to me to be cautious. These players could be best on somebody else's bench. Sometimes letting others reach and make mistakes is a good strategy, right? So, things to think about. Nice data here. We continue down. Round 9 to 20 here. If you look at scales, Spears relative to Singletary, Williams, and Brian Robinson. Okay, something interesting. Chuba Hubbard at 75 in round 14. Interesting. Foreman 61. Dillon at 61, round 20. Is he really that bad? Round 20. Could be a gift for you. Okay. I think this should at least give you some things to do deeper research. I'm urging you to use these kind of metrics as touchstones for deeper research. Why are you picking these players? Okay. Is it because somebody said something on Twitter, or are you looking at the metrics? Okay. Multiple data streams is another foundation of my process. This is not the only data stream. Okay. I use my COM data, my so-called Bush figure. I like to see Dennis's MVP, his best, his weekly values. I like to look at all that. Okay. Fantasy football, I believe, is becoming a data manager's problem. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of barking dogs out there. Is it something to worry about? Is it just some squirrels, or is there a wolf out there? Okay. That is the hardest thing that I've seen drafters do, is learning how to manage their time, their data, their expectations, range of outcomes. That skill, let's call it a big skill, being a data manager. That's the hardest thing. I'm still working on that after, I don't know, studying biology since the 1970s. I think I'm still working and trying to learn and think. We're not even talking about cognitive biases and dealing with that. So that's all sitting on there. So people, I think, punt, just say, well, I'm not going to figure it out, so I'm just going to flip some things around. Great. I love that kind of league. I hope everybody does that in the leagues I'm in. Okay? Look, somebody's going to get to draft CMC, so it's not like he's going to drop to pick 12 or whatever. Okay? By chance, people are going to land on good players. Your job is to, given when your time to draft, what are you doing relative to what's the board giving you? Reading the room. Okay? Being a data manager. That's something to consider. Okay. And we get even deeper still, rounds 21, 22, 23 here. Just kind of seeing what else is out there. Not sure if any of these people are ever playing again or not, but I just included them that really weren't in. You know, these are the hidden players, just in case you want to look into some of these players, you can. Tight ends. Kyle Pitts. Okay. Look at Ingram at 94, folks. Number 1. Yet you can get him in the 4th. I think there's something to be said there. Hawkinson, if he can get healthy, 88 in the 8th round. I have tried, when I've missed on a Leach, an Ingram Hawkinson stack. Can you imagine? And maybe a third one in best ball, like Komet 63. Freiermuth, people talking him up. I understand. Had a real bad season last year. Even the pros project him not to be so top. What do they project him at? 15th or something? I'd rather have Komet at Freiermuth if that's my choice. I'll skip Freiermuth and take Komet in 10. Love to get him in 11. Jonnu Smith is interesting. Okay, way down there, 18th. Deeper still, love Zach Ertz, 54, folks, 19th round. Logan Thomas is good for a game or two. Joe Everett, in case Transom Hill is a tight end in your system. He's not in mine, but he's a quarterback. But just want to let you know if you look at him as a tight end. So there's some bargains out there in best ball right now. I've talked about some of these. Take a look. Wide receivers. Round 1. Look how many wide receivers are going in round 1. Goodness. Not so many in round 2. So everybody's rushing to grab those round 1 wide receivers. Historically, that's what's worked. If you look at my ADP versus end of the season lesson plan, looking historically. So who am I worried about? Garrett Wilson jumps out at me. Okay, 65. I like Tyreek Hill. Gotta like CeeDee Lamb at 100. Raw and Tyreek Hill pretty much the same. Just looking at these, seeing what you see here. Olave, I am worried, but and you're getting him in round 2. Drake London, Evans, Ayuk seem to be worrisome. Pittman, I love in round 3, 77. Love Diggs, 72. He's going to round 4. Round 5, Tank Dell and Zay Flowers are interesting. T. Higgins worries me. Had a bad season, of course, with Flacco or no, who took over from Burrow? Whoever it was when Burrow got hurt. I don't know who it was. I forgot. Okay. Next block. Keenan Allen jumps out at me. Round 6. I like him. Been taking him a lot. Hollywood Brown, I worry. Okay. Some other ones, nothing just too bad. Round 9, 10, I start to like Rashee Rice. I wish he would, if he gets out of jail. Lockett looks interesting. Myers looks interesting. Palmer and Downs look interesting round 14. So some of these just jump out at you. And you can see what the pros think here versus the round. I like Thielen. Round 15 seems nice. Wan'Dale Robinson and DeMarco Douglas are intriguing. Moore, Bourne, and Boyd. Nice in round 2019. Rondale Moore, 21. He may be just a free square. Very intriguing people, folks. So this data slaps it in your face a little bit for you to figure out. Okay. Did some preaching. Okay. The few that listen, thank you. Okay. Hopefully this helps you think. Okay. Not for you to religiously follow any of this. In fact, I urge you, if you want to say, okay, if I just went by the numbers, make note in your draft diary, this is what you're doing. See what this information does for your game. Okay. Another thing you don't hear. All these people throw out, here's this, here's sleepers and anti-sleepers, and I don't know, whatever it is, whatever term of the day that's undefinable. Bottom line for you, how does it help your game? Only way you know that is save your draft board, do some work at the end of the season. I know I'm on the basketball, and hey, then you don't want to improve. Draft diaries every year. If you just, okay, I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to track this. I'm going to track that. A couple of years ago, I started tracking time of draft for me, and unsurprisingly, I made more money about mid-August to the beginning of the season. I know that's like, well, yeah, dummy. But I had thought that being a professor, I'll be able to crush it. Nah, I mean, I had some success in May, but nothing like I had mid-August back. So why should I take a lower rate of return if I can get a higher rate of return over here doing it this way? Okay. I'm greedy. I want the most for my time, right? Time is the factor. So what time of year are you better at drafting? What type of drafts? You a best ball maven? You a dynasty guru? What the hell are you? Find out. I suck at dynasty. That's why Dennis is running my only dynasty team. Okay, because he has a way about it. Okay. Best ball, I'm kind of breaking even. Okay, I won a little bit last year. Year before, I lost a little. But I don't risk a lot relative to my other investment, my redraft mid-August. So I've not tried other formats. Elimination, I don't know, some of these other exotic, IDF, I don't know, some of these IDP, whatever they are. Why would I spend more time to split my thinking doing that? Okay. Now, if somehow I'm not good anymore at redraft in a couple of years, okay, maybe I better move on. But for right now, I'm doing well in redraft mid-August to the season. So as long as that ball is rolling, I'm following along with it. Okay. That's player level touches per game, and the scaled touches allow you to view this a lot better. And notice this stuff jumps out at you. Okay. I'll try to have hard copies of this as well as the video. Okay. I'll be doing, what am I doing next? Oh, I'm going to look at all players by draft rounds in part 3. Okay, so now we're going to increase the thinking based on the ADPs coming, what is jumping out at us per each segment of the draft. Okay, come back. I'll get this out soon.